Hi, Cynthia from the Pinocchio Jubilee Library with this week's Thinkers and Tinkerers program. Today we are going to be making a candle seesaw. For this project, we will need the kit that you get from the Pinocchio Jubilee Library, which consists of 2 candles, 2 cups, aluminum foil, a piece of tape, as well as a bobby pin. If you do not want to use these cups, you are more than welcome to use 2 cups of the same size at your house. For this project, parental supervision is required. Please, parents, you be the ones that light the candles, because there is a high chance that you can get burnt if you're not careful with this experiment. So to prep your area, make sure there's no flammable materials nearby. Then take the aluminum foil that we provide and stretch it out like a tablecloth over the area that you're going to build your candle seesaw over. Your next step is to take the 2 cups, put them down side by side, and you're going to add a bit of water to each one to make the cups heavier. So basically that way they don't move. Just make sure that there's enough water nearby. And it doesn't hurt to keep a little extra water on hand just in case you need to put out the fire really quickly. Your next step is to take the 2 candles and the piece of tape that we've provided, and you're going to tape the 2 candles together as tightly as possible at the center. If you would prefer to use Scotch tape or masking tape, something that you have at home, you're more than welcome to do that. That's not a problem. So I'm just going to tape these as close together as I can. Now I have 1 very large candle with a wick on each side. Good to know, when we tape the candles like this, we've now created something called a lever. So this is also what you would see perhaps as a seesaw. This would be the board that's across the center point, the pivot point, also known as the fulcrum. So what we have to do now is we need to make the fulcrum. What you do now is you're going to take the pin and you're going to very, very carefully slide the pin between the candles. So essentially midway, like that. So what we've created now is the lever, so the lever board and the fulcrum point, so the center of the board. So if this was a seesaw on a playground, you would be sitting on each end here. This is the center, and then you're able to be moving up and down, up and down. Right, I'm going to move my cups back into position. Now, here is the fun part, aka the tricky part. You want to place your candles in such a way that they are as level as possible. So what this means is you might have to modify the placement of your pick. There's different ways to do that. You can kind of change the center position like so, or you can actually move the bobby pin a bit farther or closer throughout the candle. But basically you want it to be as even as possible. So when the candle here is even with each other, that means that the forces on each side of the candle are equal to each other. So they balance each other out, they cancel each other out. If, let's say, you suddenly have a weight on one side that pushes the lever down, that means that there's more force on this side, the side that goes down, than there is on this side. And so that's essentially how a seesaw works, as you know. This is also how a lever works, and this is how we're able to use levers to actually move very large objects with minimal amount of force. Because let's say you have a super, super heavy object on this side, you can move the fulcrum point to such an extent that you can easily push down this side to move the lever up. But that's getting into a little more complex physics right now. Right now, what we want to do is just try to balance our seesaw as best as possible. Once you get it to a relatively center position, that's where, as an adult, the adult comes by and lights the candle. Okay, these candles are actually going to burn pretty quickly. So what we recommend is you just light one side first and see what happens. As you can see, this candle is already starting to melt, and so what's happening is the candle is now becoming a gas or a liquid, and it is either fallen or evaporated. And thus it's becoming lighter. With this part of the seesaw becoming lighter, this part is getting heavier and it goes down. Now, let's see if we can balance it out a little bit. Go ahead and see how successful you are at creating a well-balanced candle seesaw. We would love to see your creations on our Ponoka Jubilee Library Facebook page, so please feel free to post the pictures. And please be safe with this experiment, and thank you so much for joining us for this week.